Alright, intervals. What do we mean by intervals? It's just the space between notes. It's just the thing that makes up a melody. For instance, for happy birthday, or three blind mice, or wish that I was on a rocky top. Those have different melodies, and that's because of the spaces between the different notes that's chosen. So let's get into this. First of all, let's start out by using our friend, let's go with A major scale to help in understanding this. So A major scale, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So the distance from here to here, and the numbers, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 equals 1. Let me go back and start over. Okay. Now, the interval from A to B here, you're going from 1 to 2. And so you might imagine that's a second. That's a 2. It's a second away, you might say. From A to C sharp, or the third note, 2. Now if we jump from A up to C sharp, well, that would be, you might guess, a third away. A up to D, you guessed it, a fourth away. So D is a fourth, or 4 notes away, and you have to count A as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 away from D. Very good. E, draw through my interval sign, looks like, would be a fifth. A to F sharp would be a sixth. To G sharp, seventh, and so on. Now, the other thing is that you can start counting from other places in this scale, right? I could start counting from B and count up 3 away from B is D, and that would be a third above my B note in the D scale, even though that this is 2 and 4. I could start counting up from D, and I would say that D, E, F sharp is a third, 1, 2, 3 above D in the A major scale. You could do the same thing from any of these. I could count up 2, 4, C sharp, so which is a fourth away from C sharp here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be F sharp would be a fourth away from C sharp. A fourth away from B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be an E. So you can talk about these spaces between the different notes in different scales. And that is what makes up an interval. Now, there's one other thing that you'll come across, and that is a major interval, say, and a minor interval. And although this sounds complicated, hopefully we can make it as simple as it really is. Again, interval here is just meaning a space between a note. So let's use, for example, the first three notes of A major, okay, and A minor. So A major is going to be A, B, and C sharp. Okay. A minor is going to be A, B, and C. So let's look at how we count up to get to this third note in our scale, because here it's 1, 2, 3, and down here is going to be the same, 1, 2, 3. So how many spaces, how many half steps do we have to make to get to our third note in each of these scales? So here we start here and we go up 1, 2, 3 4 half steps, or 2 whole steps to get to C sharp. Okay, again, here's 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps, which equals 2 whole steps. So I'm going to write over here, this equals 4 1/2 steps. Okay? 4 of these. But in A minor, you're going to go how many half steps? Let's go up here to our handy dandy helper. We're going to start in A, and we're going to go 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps. And so to get to this third note in the scale, you have to go 3 half steps. Like if you were walking this off on a line, this C would be a little bit closer to your A note than the C sharp. You'd only have to take 3 kind of foot in front of the other sort of steps to get there. Whereas to get to C sharp, you'd have to take 4 of those foot in front of another steps. Okay? And so if you had to name this distance, these 4 half steps to get to 1, 2, your third note, what might you call that? How about a major third? It's what you find in a major, and it's how many half steps you have to travel to get up to the third note in your major scale. So it's a major third. How about for A minor? Well, this interval, how about calling it, you guessed it, a minor third. Okay? And so that's the difference in, say, a major third and a minor third. In general, if you hear about other things like a minor 6 or a minor or other intervals, you can basically just think of it as the minor interval equals the major minus 1 half step. Okay, it's going to be 1/2 step closer to wherever you started from than the major interval would otherwise be. And so also now look at this, and this will be the last thing we talk about. You can also talk about minor and major intervals within this scale itself. So we don't have to start from A. It's the A scale, but what if we wanted to start from the second note? And we know that B, 1, 2, 3, we know that D is 3 notes, is the third above B, but is it a major third or a minor third? And so all we have to do is count. And so we say B, 1/2 step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps. We get 3 half steps take us to D. And so from B to D is 3 half steps, 3 1/2 steps. So that equals a what? A minor third. Okay? Let's look at, how about we pick the third, if we started at D. What's a third away from D in the A major scale? Just count up the notes. D, 1, E, 2, F sharp. That's the third note. And so we know that D and F sharp are a third away from each other, but how much? So D to its third away is F sharp. But how many half steps do we have to move? It was 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. And so we know that that's 4 half steps. And so that's going to equal a major third away. Okay, I hope that's helpful. And you'll hear as you listen more and more about musical notation, music theory, the way this stuff works. You'll hear these terms, and I hope this clarifies things, and at least gives you a place to start from where things start to feel more familiar and less of a foreign language. Alrighty, thanks everybody.